Chitrangada, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation and welcome to Coffee Confidential with Griha. I'm really
Thank you.
excited that you are here on the broadcast. On the live stream also, since considering we are going to put this on, digital. First of all, we're talking right ahead of Women's Day. Women's Day is going to be rendered all colorful because it's also Holi. I see you dressed in a lovely attire, which is also all colorful. We will talk about that
Thank
slightly later, but you have to tell me this first. Considering you are the voice of the modern Indian woman, how does an Indian woman bring those colors of happiness in their lives, considering we're talking about Women's Day, we talk about women supporting women, we talk about how there are more women that are needed in the workforce, in every stream possibly. In 2023, where do you see that position for the modern Indian women?
Wow. Okay, that was a long question. I was just like, oh, well, I think this is something that we probably discuss every year. And I do think that every single year we do take that baby step towards getting more seen, more visible, especially when it comes to women issues, women problems, woman power. I think everything is just and what I like is it has to be a baby step because it is for the long run. It's not about making this splash and making this uh, making a point and then just kind of vanishing and going away. I think there has to be a very gradual change, and I what I really like is that the change is gradual and it is staying. It's not like it comes and it goes and people forget about things. So what I'm trying to talk about here is when it comes to, say, women issues, how we can now discuss about, like, I believe now women who are going to have period breaks. Like there's a lot of corporates who are coming forward and saying that we would also give you leave when you are going through a menstrual period. So I mean, stuff like that is slowly gaining. Um, it's getting recognized. Women don't have to be men, women are women, and things like that. The understanding is growing so gradually, but what I like it is that it's real. It's not just something you and I discussing in an interview or something that just gets written and articles. It's not just lip service, it's actually happening. So I do think it's going to be a better year than last year, and every year there's a change. I feel it. I mean, I don't know. This is my personal
Oh, and
opinion.
we will
Yeah.
come back to this point that you've just made, but I can't help but notice this lovely, colorful frame that you are sitting in. The picture in the background
Oh,
also
okay.
is actually, speaking for women empowerment, of course. And this attire that you're wearing,
Yeah.
you co-created this particular brand, an apparel brand. How did this happen, Chitrangada? I mean, this is one facet of your personality that people really were not privy to. How did you actually decide to delve into the fashion industry and also create something which is to do with fashion?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you've been saying, so what I'm wearing here today is True Browns. This is the name of the brand, and I have co-created this line with the brand. The summer collection is out, and I'm wearing one of them. How did this happen? I think, being in this line and being an actor, you anyway get exposed to so much of
Yeah.
fashion. You get exposed to style, and you kind of understand and start to form your own sense of style and your own sense of fashion. There's a language that you find over a period of time, and I think I've probably have done that as well. And I've kind of found myself, being very rooted in Indianness, when it comes to, I don't think I'm somebody who's extremely Western, even in the way that I am. So I find whether it's Indian colors, whether it's Indian prints, Indian outfits. I love wearing saris. I mean, I've often worn them. So yeah, I think this became a very organic and a natural move to sort of join hands with True Browns and to be able to create. I mean, for me, that was a very big sort of opportunity, and I was very excited about that. So yeah, we kind of came together. It's about modern Indian woman. We're talking about women today and how they're changing, how they have become so much more modern. But still, I think when we talk about India, we are still very rooted in our traditions. Our matrix hasn't changed, so much. So yeah, I mean, there's an amazing blend, and I think that's exactly what we've done with even our clothes. They're wearable, they're stylish, they're Indian. There's a lot of block prints, there are a lot of prints which are Indian. colors have, not the usual gray, black, whites, which are very Western. So we've stuck to a lot of Indian colors. So yeah, and I find that very exciting. And we kind of sort of saw exactly the same way. The ideology was somehow very similar with what True Brown was already doing. So yeah, it just kind of came together really quick. Actually, it didn't take that much time.
I really love the
So
fact that
yes,
you mentioned how there is that
you have
Indianness.
to wear. You have to wear
I
something. I'm
actually
going to send
am
you True
wearing
Browns,
today.
okay?
I would
Yeah.
love that. I
Oh,
was actually
really?
wearing a True Bounce kurta today, so that was something that
Oh,
I
wow.
thought I'll tell you. But
Oh, I'm so glad.
the fact that you mentioned that there is a facet of Indianness in your personality, and that is something that you've always stayed connected with. And I have seen that from ever since I've seen you act, whether when you were staying in Delhi, going and casting your vote in Gurgaon for that matter, wearing that nice summery kurta. I still have that vision and memory of yours, Chitrangada. That never leaves me. Or whether seeing you in the golf course where your brother was, of course, being part of that entire sport. All of that we've seen. But you've also very vocally said how you love Bombay, how you love Mumbai, and this entire craziness of Mumbai as a city. So what is it with you, considering your father being in the army, you've traveled across the country, but now that you've settled in Mumbai, in Maharashtra, these two facets that you talk about, how do you actually present, one on screen and one in real life?
Oh, okay. Okay, firstly, Mumbai, matlab, you have to live in the city to know the city. ऐसा लगता है कि सब लोग जो यहाँ आते हैं उसकी बस बड़ाइयाँ ही करते हैं, but that's not true. It's not like it's just an empty praise and it's because I make a living here. This city really is very accepting. I mean, I don't know how to say this, but it is very accepting, and people are so warm, so nice. Everybody's busy. Nobody has a time for you, but at the same time, there is so much humanity, and there's a lot of warmth in the city. And I mean, being a woman, and since we're talking about Women's Day, I can't not mention how safe Mumbai is.
Yeah.
I came here some 12 years back, and my first time to Mumbai, and I being a Delhi girl, being from Delhi College, Delhi University. I was pretty wary, and you know how, I don't know, a lot of Delhi girls will probably understand what I'm saying. You are really sort of on your toes, and you kind of really watching. But I just felt so comfortable in Mumbai. I could take an auto at whatever 12:30 at night or 1 o'clock at night. It didn't matter. It's just so comfortable and safe. So I love Mumbai. And I don't know. Your second question was, how is your screen life and your real life different?
Yes.
It's very different. I think I live two very different sort of, because I live between two cities. I think I think I'm very fortunate to live two different lives. So yeah, Mumbai is a lot about work. It's about, this whole idea of star, the actor and stuff like that. Whereas when I go back to Delhi, I'm just another person. I just enjoy my golf, and I enjoy playing some sports. I love to spend time, go trekking sometimes, and I travel. So there's a lot of difference between who I am on screen and who I am in person. I think there's completely two different people.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you began with talking about the importance of women in the workforce, also talking about paid menstruation leaves that are much required, a conversation that definitely has started in India, something that has been practiced in a state like Kerala and also in Bihar. But, talking about the film industry, your workforce, how do you see that sort of change really trickling in? Do you see that has become practically possible, or there are still detractors?
So do you mean change as in the way the corporates are changing
Yeah,
for
in
the
any
women
which way, for the women
workforce?
workforce, yes.
How has it changed? I think the industry has always been a lot more liberal, when it came to women working. I mean, from way back, we have women editors, we have, of course, a lot of assistant directors. There's just directors. Yeah, I mean, I can't see. This has been. I mean, there's a lot of examples, a lot of women who've done really well, and way before time, before you saw women stepping into the corporate world. In the industry, women have kind of been part of the how do you say, the the main sort of setup, long before.
Hmm.
So I mean, yeah, I mean, there is a change, of course. There is a change here as well because there's a change in the country.
Hmm.
But I mean, that of course, when I talk about actors, you can tell about the kind of characters that we're playing, how they're women-centric roles that are coming up. Um, yeah, I feel that is the kind of change that I would say that's happened in the industry as well.
But
Yeah.
Chitrangada, we still today talk about how, because there are films that are helmed by women, that have directors, female producers, female actors, ruling the roost. And still, whenever there is a film like this coming out, we always end up bracketing it in that one genre that this is a women-oriented film. Unfortunately, it's still that. Don't you think there is still time for that conversation sort of to normalize that it's okay, it's a film which is helmed where the hero is a female actor, and that's okay?
See, I mean, I honestly, it doesn't make a difference to me. It
Hmm.
doesn't make a difference. You can call it women centric. You can call it whatever. You can call it. It's a whatever rare film. That there's a woman. You can call it whatever you want, as long as it works and you accept and you enjoy it.
Hmm.
I have no problem with the tags that you're giving it, in the sense that, see, I mean, of course, somewhere you should say aisa kyun bol, but why should a doctor be a doctor? An actor should be an actor. Why should be female in this thing? But I don't understand, like, what's the big hoo-ha about it? I genuinely don't understand. A woman is going to be called a woman. I don't want to be called a man. Please call me an actress. You don't have to call me an actor.
Okay.
It's absolutely fine. It doesn't change who I am. It doesn't change my potential as an actor. It doesn't change anything about me. So I'm not going to fight over such honestly trivial things. You can call me what you want. You can call me a beauty queen. I don't know, whatever the hell you want to call me. And, sort of, whatever. I don't know, whatever word you want, whatever term you want to give me. As long as you accept the work that I do, and it gets sort of measured, or it gets the same kind of acknowledgement that when a man does. For example, so when there is an award coming up or whatever, a comic, or I mean, what I'm saying is, you have a separate category, that's absolutely fine, but there has to be recognition for my work as well.
Yeah.
You can't overstep that. You
Right.
can't overrule that. So as long as there is an acceptance of me, woman, as an identity which is different than a man, and given equal respect, given equal attention, equal recognition, equal acknowledgement, I'm fine with it. I don't want to be a man. I mean, so that's not the fight at all. Yeah, I've heard about this conversation. I've heard about these discussions, but I don't really buy it.
Okay.
I'm fine with it.
Okay.
I'm okay with it. Yeah.
Okay, taking my cue from how you said respecting identities, and that is what is important.
Yeah.
How much of that
Yeah.
is prevalent in the film industry? I know you have called out certain things when it is about your own film set. You've decided to take the tough decision of walking out of a film. But the sluts shaming that follows, an actor, a female actor, needs to be ready for that, or that needs to change. Don't you think that's an important conversation that also needs to be addressed, especially as we talk about celebrating women on one particular day in a year?
Absolutely. See, that is where all you can do is the decisions and the choices you make. Beyond that, it is a decision and the choice of the audiences, of the people, of the masses, to decide who they want to be, what they want to be, what is the ideology they prefer, how much do they respect and value a woman's point of view as opposed to a man, how fair are they in their judgment of making an allegation, or when an allegation is made and they want to judge that allegation. It is up to them, and that is a very big picture that we're discussing. That's about every mother telling her son how to look at a woman, or how to treat a woman, how to respect her, in every which role that she's part of his life. So that's a much bigger picture. I feel the only thing that we as individuals, the small things that we can do, is make the right choice at that point. Stay true to the spirit of, say, womanhood, or whatever that we want to call that. That is where it matters. That is where it matters. You shouldn't sell yourself.
Does it ever scare you that, if at all I go ahead and stand for what I feel is right, probably I would not get work, let's say, in future, or I would not be able to work with this particular coterie? Has that thought ever really come to your mind? Has that worry ever bothered you?
It happened, yeah. And I was very much aware of that at that point, that
Hmm.
what's going to happen,
Hmm.
what's going to follow. I was very much aware of that. But that's, like I said, sometimes you weigh and you decide what is more important, and you take that call. And I did face a certain amount of, say, whatever you might call it, backlash
Hmm.
of certain fans or whatever, because that's their understanding. I mean, I can't go around changing people's mind.
Hmm.
I can be sure of what I think. And I think as a woman, that is what I did, what was important for my self respect.
Hmm.
Um, and I did that, I mean, I suppose what comes after that is something that you should have to be ready for, because
Absolutely.
that's what matters. Otherwise, we can all sit here and have a drawing room conversation and sound like feminists.
Yeah.
But I think what matters is that, are you willing to take the call when it's needed. So,
Okay.
but having said that, it's
Yeah.
just that you sleep better and you feel good about it. So that's it.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
and that's
that's what
that's very
matters.
important. That's very important.
Yeah.
Okay, so talking about gaslight, I'm sure instances like gaslighting another person have had happen. Everybody experienced to that. We actually owe this particular term to a 1940 film or even a 1938 play that this film was based on, whether it is a British film that we're talking about or the 1944 American film of the same name. Now you're doing a film which is called Gaslight that is all set to be released. Can we talk about it at the moment or can we not?
No, we can definitely talk about my film. I kind of
Yes.
missed you. The link is not so good. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Gaslight, definitely. It's coming out on the 31st of March. It's releasing on Disney Hotstar. There is Sara Ali Khan and there's Vikrant Messi with me in the film. And yeah, it's a thriller. And you have to see who's gaslighting who, and or are all three getting gaslit or whatever it is. It's quite different. The whole the plot is very different. Um, Actually very different than anything that I've done or read so far. It's
Hmm.
not a regular thriller. So yes,
And this is a
that's
direct
what
to
the film
OTT
is.
release, is what we are told. So,
Yes.
how was the
Yes.
experience like? Sarah, you never before seen together on screen, even Vikrant Massey for that matter. So, is an entirely new cast that has been, put before the camera together for the first time. I'm sure all of your fans must be expecting a lot from this film.
I'm expecting a lot. I hope I hope they all enjoy that. It's a lot of fun. I mean, Sarah is somebody that I was fond of even before we started shooting. So I
Hmm.
was very excited to work with her. She's lovely. She's great energy on set. Vikrant is an amazing actor. Again, someone that I was so happy, to work with. And look, I was looking forward to working with him because he's just like my cup of tea. He's just the kind of work that I would love to be part of, and he's so sort of subtle, and he's lovely. So yeah, I really am very happy, and I hope people like it. I'm very happy with the film.
Okay. And
Yeah.
Chitranga, before I let you go, we are also talking just before the Oscar ceremony that's all set to happen. And we are hoping and fingers crossed that India actually gets some back home. How do
Yes.
you feel about India's chances at the Oscars?
Well, I think it's overwhelming. Even the kind of response that the film has got everywhere, even the awards before leading up to the Oscars.
Yes.
And what's interesting is that they're not gauging it by the same standards as Western cinema, and they actually are recognizing how different our cinema is, how different the entertainment is. I mean, at the end of the day, that is what you're judging. You're judging the entertainment value, or how much you can move the audiences with your emotion, but everybody has a different way of storytelling.
Right.
Every country, every part of the world is different. You can't gauge them in the same meter. So I'm very happy that they are actually seeing that. The entertainment value that we bring, and far more in far more number than anywhere in the world. So yeah, this would be such an amazing thing. I mean, this will be like a perfect beginning to the year and be much needed for the industry. So yeah,
Absolutely.
I think it'll be fantastic.
And
We
before I
should all
let you
be
go, we have to
celebrating.
ask you about your Holi plans. So, what plans, how many gujiyas do you actually prepare? Are you prepared to gorge on?
I love gujiyas. I love gujia, especially the kishmish in it. I remember even as a kid, that's the only thing that I wanted. Pull out all the kishmish inside. I'm going to be back home with the family for Holi. I'm flying back tomorrow. So yeah, and probably gujiyas, but thodi, not too much, the chota, tiny ones. And yeah, I think that's what the plan is.
Thank you so much for this, Chitrangada. Happy Holi and a very happy Women's Day to you. Stay
Happy
well. All
Holi.
the best.
Thank you so much. Lovely
Thank you.
talking to you.
Same here.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Take care.